Earlier this year, I covered issues 1 and 2 of the 5-issue series Bishop War College for a live episode of Cringe Comic Reads. Take a good long look at the screen, and I really need you to look at the screen for this one.
I said look at it!
Have you ever thought, man, I love the X-Men, but you know what would make them even better? If they were all black. No? Me neither, and I'm a lifelong X-Men fan. And if you're new to the channel, don't worry, I'm gonna break down exactly why this is so brain dead and why I had to drag it through the dirt, and we can have a nice collective laugh about this madness. The whole thing is out, so I had to go back and read the last 3 issues, and it don't get no better. In fact, in some ways it gets much worse.
Fucking whoops.
So make sure you listen to the whole video so you can hear and see just what makes all this crap so cringe. Let's get it. Let's go. It's Bishop. Okay, fair enough. I likes me some Bishop, but he's training these like new crop of X-Men. It's a bunch of nobodies basically that nobody knows, nobody really cares about. He's training them on the beach, and then they ended up going underground in Krakoa, and somehow Bishop ends up getting sent back in time because it's like a surprise attack or some shit. I ain't even gonna waste y'all time with the how he got back in time because that ain't the point. We got to talk about what happened on these pages when he actually get there. He lands in the past, but not the past. It's like back to the days of future past of the future, alternate Earth version. I've traveled space and time, more than I can count. I've watched my dearest loved ones die over and over. I've won wars. I've lost wars. I've seen empires rise and fall. I've witnessed things no other mortal has witnessed. I thought I had seen it all. What the hell am I looking at now? Lucas Bishop. Bishop Lucas? Bitch ass Luke Ship. I couldn't have said it better myself, sir.
What kind of fuckery is this?
I don't hate the art. When it wants to be, the art is good. Lil Juggy here is where I start to not even care how good the art is, because someone decided that we gonna make Juggernaut a little fat boy who goes to Xavier's school, which means he's a mutant now instead of getting his powers from Citarak. Is that how you say the name of it? But anyway, his powers are magical. He's not a mutant, but he's a mutant now apparently, because of course he is. You know, and the kids are cute and everything, but no. Just no. Like, this is the headline on whoaskforthis.com. I come from this weird world where you're a fan of something because of what it is, not because of what it's not. I've liked these characters my whole life. I never needed to make them black instead of white. So he's on the ground now. Of course, the way they talk now, we have to make them as black as possible. Just be cool. Everything's cool. I'm not sure if that's a Cyclops line, at least not my Cyclops. And not my ass either, because I don't know what's going on here. That is a questionable ass, if I've ever seen one. Anyway, Bishop gets ready to go for his gun. Jean basically thinks, oh yeah, I'm about to put the hurting on you, and tries to make him think the good thoughts, but he says, nah, you ain't mind wiping me, bish. So Cyclops decides that he's gonna zap Bishop, and if you know anything about Bishop, you know that's the last thing you want to do. So then he zaps his ass right back. Again, don't hate this art. The art, when it wants to be, is actually pretty freaking good. Although this posing is kind of meh. Like, they're jumping over the blast. They're definitely putting all their bodies into it. But then he's kind of like, oh no, here, take this, pal. Also, he randomly looks old here. I know that's just the light flashing off of his hair, but it makes him look like, kind of looks like Black J. Jonah Jameson right there. His win don't last for long because he gets what we call ye old mollywop by Beast because... Hey kids, you know the OG X-Men team comprised of Cyclops, Jean Grey, the Beast, Angel, and Iceman? Do you want Negrofied versions of the OG X-Men? Do you want Jean Grey to randomly have a bell pepper nose when she didn't have one before? Do you want Cyclops to have seaweed hair? Do you want Beast to be doing his best Hotep impression? Because now he also has dreads. I mean, Jesus Christ had dreads, so shake him. Do you want him now to also speak in the Ebonics? You know Beast, the character who has always been the most proper, Shakespearean almost, and Oxford Dictionary ass speaking. You want him to just start being like, So, well, too bad, because here you go. This is what representation means now. I'm just picturing Steven Universe over me throwing those marshmallows. This is what life means for you now. Endless suffering. I'm surprised they didn't make him black. They should have just made him Black Ice. Just roll with it. Why not? And if life wasn't suffering enough, here comes Professor X, played by Russell Simmons. Okay, so all the budget for the art is gone by this page, clearly. They blew their art budget in like that one fight scene. Is Little Juggy even on this page? Did they retract him? Did they just say, all right, no, we can't even afford him no more? It's like the best scenes of Dragon Ball Z and then swap over to the worst scenes of Dragon Ball Super. Like, I don't even know how this man is standing. I don't know how he's standing. I don't understand how any of this is working. Is he dead? I don't know why his face looked like that. I don't know why his head got smaller from one panel to another. Bishop is also here too, but in this one, I guess he's just a teacher at the school. He don't actually have the powers. But yeah, that's basically it. that is what Xmen is now. So that was my cringe comic reads of Bishop War College, mainly issue 2. And the reason why I was so light on plot synopsis is because the plot literally doesn't matter. The reason why Bishop goes to the alternate timeline doesn't matter. What's going on with his students back in our universe doesn't really matter. They do hop back and forth and show you, but it's really inconsequential. The feeling I get from reading this really just seems like this book exists so that they can change the races of all the X-Men and make them black. And when I say all of them, I mean all of them. I mean Colossus, I mean Nightcrawler, I mean Wolverine, aka what the fuck is going on with your hair, homeboy? Abort this timeline, pull the plug on this earth, please. Even the enemies of the X-Men are black. Here we have Black Mr. Sinister, Black Mystique, all for what? Just so that you can say, nana nana boo boo, we took more of your characters, fuck you, so we can have more representation. Well, this is like the worst team to do it with. Because, spoiler alert, the X-Men have been diverse culturally and ethnically since 1975 with the debut of giant-sized X-Men. That was the beginning of many of the most iconic X-Men we have today, including Storm, who's not only one of the most popular X-Men, she's one of the most popular black female characters, black superheroes, comic book characters, Marvel characters, everything that you have to describe Storm, she is at the top of the list of whatever that is. Sure, it would be great to have more than 2 well-known black characters who are on X-Men teams, because you got Storm and then you got Bishop, but they're super diverse and really well done. In fact, they're like diversity within diversity. Storm is half black American and half Kenyan, and then Bishop, he's Aboriginal. So you got blackness inception going on here. But it goes even farther than that. We have a black woman, a German who looks like a demonic elf, a Russian man covered in steel, a short, hairy Canadian who has more riz than the law allows, and a Native American who probably never gets utilized these days because time was not kind to all of the X-Men. I'm not someone who rejects the idea of wanting better representation or supporting diversity. I support these things. I don't think that there's something that needs to be ignored or that it's just irrelevant. Sure, obviously for some people it is, but that's an individual call. The human race is diverse in our experience, in our culture, and yes, in things like our ethnicities, our sexual orientations, our gender identity, all that stuff is different. Just like a person's politics are going to be different. Our religious views are going to be different. Speaking of religion, there's religious diversity in here too. You got Nightcrawler, who's a Catholic, and then they turned around and said, oh no, we're not done yet, because we're taking Magneto. Now he's a Holocaust survivor, and his experiences as a European Jewish mutant are exactly what informs him into becoming a supervillain, because he wants to never have that happen again. He becomes a full-blown mutant supremacist. He was MCU's Killmonger before Killmonger. I got you want to see more black faces out here, but taking white characters and just slapping black coats of paint on them and cramming a bunch of stereotypes in there to boot, does not solve this issue. Storm recently got her own series, a solo series, for the first time in a while, and I haven't read it all the way yet, but from what I have seen and what I've heard, it's solid, which makes my heart all aflutter, because y'all know I love me some Storm. And speaking of Storm real quick, I do want to point out something here. You may notice that Storm is also included on these pages, and she is black. There was a rumor going around when there was more of a buzz about the Bishop War College thing that she had been race swapped to white. The panel that was being passed around was actually an old page from like 2019. As you can see on these pages, Storm is very much her highly melanated self. But the fact that they went and changed everybody else, and I believe this came out at or around Black History Month, so yeah, nice little insult to injury there. But that's honestly why I had to drag this book. It's one thing to have characters like Miles Morales who've been around for a while and they've gone on to develop their own identities and they have like a solid fan base. I'm fine with that stuff, but shit like this, just take all the white people, take all the non-black people and just make them black. That's not diversity. That's bullshit. And as a creator, as a proud black man who has several black characters of his own, it infuriates me that in terms of mainstream representation, this is still the biggest currency. This is still what moves the needle the most. Can you see why I keep making this the focus of my ire, y'all? It just grinds my gears, it boils my piss.
No, sir, I don't like it.
But that's gonna be all for me today. Have you read this series? Do you feel like I was too hard on Bishop War College? Do you feel like I didn't go in hard enough? And what would you like for me to cover next on Cringe Comic Reads? Let me know in the comments and let's have us a conversation. Either way, thank you for watching and listening. I'm Animaine, and I'll talk to y'all later. Deuces.